This meeting is being recorded.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another episode. It's another off-season suggestion episode. We're here with now the best division in football, the AFC West. I'm here with Moody and Isaiah. What's going on?
Doing good, Eric. Excited to talk about, I think by far the best division in the NFL.
It's not often the team puts two playoff teams in the playoffs the year prior. Two.
The Chargers didn't make it.
Just two.
The Chargers didn't make it.
Just two. And then the two teams that didn't make it get way better than the worst team that made it. So this is going to be an interesting division. We see moves being made. Let's get into it. I guess we're going to start with Kansas City, who everybody's written off. And the first thing I'll say is, like, this is the fear of when you say a lot of Super Bowls are coming for a team is, or that's only if the other teams all stay the same. But
as I always say, you usually get your hands on one. If you're lucky, you get your hands on the second. And then there's Tom Brady.
Kansas City's got a lot of in-house stuff to do. And I think they're sitting at minus $6 million. They're looking to extend Tyreek Hill. That will get them an extra $12 million in cap space alone this year. I also think they need to extend Orlando Brown Jr. I mean, they're going to do it. According to Moody told me a long time ago, once a first round pick is traded, a player is going to get paid. So just go ahead and pay Tyreek and Orlando Brown Jr. and I'll finish it. Not many restructures and cuts, but you could always dig into the Patrick Mahomes contract, but I don't know how early you're looking to get into that. They've got lots of free agents. They've got Orlando Brown, who they tagged, Tyrann Mathieu, Jaron Reed, Melvin Ingram, Javarius Ward, Mike Rimmers, Mike Hughes, Daniel Sorensen, DeMarcus Robinson, Byron Pringle, Andrew Wiley, Alex Okafor, Derek Nomney, DeAndre Baker, who they tendered, Jared McKinnon, who actually came on strong, Chad Henne, Austin Blau, Kyle Longs, who was MIA all year. So, wow. I mean, I think this is going to be a retooling year, and I think this is a year that Kansas City sees how competitive the division is and might be okay with just be happy with, hey, we're trying out the Mahomes, Andy Reid show and selling good tickets and putting on nice shows.
Remember that Super Bowl. Always remember the Super Bowl.
But with the extra up to 18 to 20 million that they can make, they definitely got to go all in. And I think you've seen the list of free agents. I think they've shown that they're amazing at drafting the offensive line. So there's no reason other than when they traded and signed last year to do that again. Mm-hmm. So they're probably going to draft their last few pieces there and attack the secondary because it's a good secondary and edge class draft. So they'll definitely have to do work there, and they're a good drafter. So free up some money. And if they don't have to free up this money by restructuring those guys, but after you resign the two guys, you'll free up enough money to go make one all-in move. And I think the name that I'm looking for here is Stefan Gilmore, 3 years, $45 million. You probably could get him to take the biggest pay cut on this team. Mm-hmm. The chance to stick it to the Patriots on the Chiefs for him will probably be money. And I just think if you can't get him, then you could look at Casey Hayward from the Raiders. That's another guy for about the same price, veteran corner that came back to life last year. And then if you can't, and then I like Patrick Peterson to also play that role for a lesser money, probably get him for $10 million per, maybe less because Patrick Peterson was hurt and looked like he regressed last year. And lastly, Bryce Callahan, a slot corner. So they're going to use any money they free up to help that secondary out because I think the edge and offensive line are strong in their draft for sure. Secondary is always bang, and I prefer to go with veteran players in the secondary. But that's about it for Kansas City. I think that's what they'll be.
We know what the Chiefs are. If Mahomes has a better second half, they could easily have a second Super Bowl. Like they're really not that far away as long as they have Reed, Mahomes, and the two receivers. I
would have loved to see him against that Rams.
It would have been interesting, especially with their offensive line. So offensively the Chiefs are pretty set. We know running game wise, Darrell Williams is a free agent so maybe Clyde Edwards-Helaire will finally get a chance to shine.
They've got everything on offense. Like they rebuilt their offensive line.
We know their offense is stacked. Definitely. I think probably you said edge can be handled in the draft as well. So yeah, I definitely agree with you when it comes to DB being the biggest thing. I don't know about the fit of J.C. Jackson just because we know. Stefan Gilmore just because we know they want to play more man. I don't think the Chiefs want to play more man. Spagnuolo don't love playing man in the second.
That. He does. He likes his cover 2 man. He likes to get his passers going and play coverage behind. It doesn't matter if it's man or zone. So I think that's he's probably one of the most underrated defensive coordinators now of all time with the work he's done in his career. But
he was so bad as a head coach, that's why he has to stay as a D coordinator. But definitely attack the defense, specifically edge, linebacker.
So would you prefer Gilmore or Casey Hayward?
I think for the price, I'd probably prefer Hayward. because I don't think they need that big time type of guy to win. They don't. Like they've shown, like even with 13 seconds left in no time, they can go get the job done and get themselves to the AFC title game. Don't fold you in the Super Bowl. So like that's all the Chiefs have to do is not
Their
fold.
offense is pretty damn amazing.
All the Chiefs have to do is not fold. So there's no reason to massively overpay for players on the defensive side of the ball because your offense is going to be good enough that you just gotta not fuck it up. That's basically what Kansas City got to do this offseason. Don't fuck it up.
Anything else about Kansas City, Eric?
I mean, not really. Just get the defense better just so they can bend but don't break so their offense can prevail. That's really all they got to do.
Yeah. All right. Next, the team that actually surprisingly made the playoffs.
The Raiders. Las Vegas.
I did tell y'all to bet they're over. While these two both decided to throw dirt on their name.
Las Vegas is back in the playoffs this year. Great story for Derek Carr. Absolutely deserves to be there. The Raiders actually don't have a ton in cap because Derek Carr has a massive cap hit coming up this year, so they only have about $17 million. And I think the biggest thing we can wonder about that is, do they cut him? Do they extend him? Like those are their options right now. They could cut him, say $20 million. You don't even got to worry about it. You can just move on. If you don't think Derek Carr can take you where you want to go, and if you can't really find a trade that you think is worth valuable, but I think the more likely scenario is you extend him.
I think McDaniels is Daniels.
Josh McDaniels.
McDaniels.
Yeah.
I think he said he's gonna go with Carr, but
it makes sense. It's hard to find.
He's had a few coaches there now.
Yeah. Now the Gruden one kind of ended in crazy fashion. So
but it actually probably was the best experience for Derek Carr.
Oh, for sure. It allowed him to sink or swim, and he swam, and he showed that he can carry a team with middling talent to a playoff spot.
Hey, I wouldn't say their talent is middling. They just handed a man $100 million.
And on offense, I would say it's middling.
Darren Waller
was hurt pretty much after Thanksgiving, and that's when they made their run.
Now Hunter Renfrow is
Hunter Renfrow is Hunter Renfrow, so you can't really decide how you want to deal with that. They have about $17 million in cap space. Obviously, I think extending Derek Carr, that'll open up another 15. You extend Darren Waller as well. That'll open up another $5 million. I think you can restructure Kenyon Drake, Colton Miller, and Yannick Ngakoue. I think that'll add some more money.
You hear those names? They got surprising talent.
And they can cut the two Denzel Good and Denzel Perryman. And that'll get
Perryman was actually really good last year.
It's just I don't know how long you want to keep riding the Perryman train. Linebackers are so replaceable that you don't really need to be paying.
They're really not.
A pad.
Good ones aren't.
So that can get them up to like 35-40 million, which is what I think they should do so they can attack free agency, because you see that division, you see the AFC. If you're not getting better, you're going backwards, and you don't want to be going backwards just because all the quarterbacks are young and they can be around for a very long time. Personal free agents, Morrow, Jonathan Hankins, Marcus Mariota, Jalen Richard, let me see, Solomon Thomas, Zay Jones, Casey Hayward, Richie Incognito, Nick Martin. They have a ton of free agents all across the roster on both sides. It makes sense. John Gruden was pretty much trying to clean house when he first got there, so it makes sense. A lot of these guys are pretty much expiring at this point. As far as keepers go, I think you keep Marcus Mariota depending on the bag that he may get from somebody else. I doubt it's too crazy, but
I've heard
we'll see though, because the quarterbacks are getting got. So I don't know how much if there'll be a chair left for Marcus Mariota, but he seems to be a good fit with Derek Carr. They like to use him on some short yardage stuff, some red zone stuff. I think it's a fine fit for them. No reason to let him go unless you absolutely have to. Derek Carr isn't the most healthy guy either. Also Solomon Thomas, who finally seemed like he found a team that fit with him, a role that fits him very well, that nickel rusher type of guy, base edge. I think you probably don't have to re-sign him for too expensive. I don't think people are going to be knocking down the door for Solomon Thomas, especially in the deep defensive line class. So bring him back, and then I think that's another piece you don't have to worry about. And then Nick Martin, the center, solid offensive lineman on a team that really gutted their offensive lineman the year before. Just adding another guy would be helpful. But as far as outside free agents to look for, though, I think definitely it starts off with the offensive line and the receiver position. We know they're pretty bad in both of those areas. Christian Kirk, first time I've mentioned him so far this year. I think they can throw a bag at Christian Kirk.
You heard what the bags can be.
You're saying the bag's going to be a big bag, but Christian Kirk would be a good guy, or DJ Chark. I definitely think they need another down the field threat. You don't want to keep relying on Deshaun Jackson. And Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow are excellent underneath possession guys. Darren Waller can give you some down the field stuff, but getting that big play threat, Derek Carr wants to throw the ball down the field when he has the guys to do so. So adding that piece would be, I think, really good for them on the outside. Interior offensive lineman, Alex Kappa, Ryan Jensen, I think would be good additions for them as well. So they could go more veteran on the offensive line, but they just need more talent up front to hold up for Derek Carr. He had to overcome a lot of pressure last year. You saw it in the playoff game against Cincinnati. And then defensively, I think the front seven, I think, has to be reevaluated. Isaiah likes Denzel Perryman more than I do. Morrow's a free agent as well. Corey Littleton is still on that overpaid contract. So they really got to replenish the front seven so they can get after the quarterback sometime. I like Sebastian Joseph Day from the LA Rams. He's been a really good interior defensive lineman for him. More of a run stopper, but he does have some pass rush stuff that he can do. That would be a good young piece for them who could he could be a little lightly paid in free agency, but we can massively outpay his contract. I like Jawan Bentley from the New England Patriots. I think he'd be a good running hit linebacker for him. I also like Dante Hightower a lot as well. You expect some Patriot guys to flow over to Vegas, considering that McDaniels is there. So adding those two guys will help make the transition easier. I've also had J.C. Jackson on this list.
Watch out for some Giants guys. With Joe Judge coming.
Yeah.
Also Patrick Graham.
Teamers. Yeah. Oh yeah, Patrick Graham is the D coordinator there as well. So that's another great point, Isaiah. The secondary, I think, also just has to be addressed. They had to cut their first round pick at Damon Arnett. Casey Hayward is a free agent. He's also 33 years old. You can't keep relying on him. Jonathan Abram, their safety that they drafted a couple years ago, he tore his ACL. So they really only got Morag. And the guy they drafted, Nate Hobbs, that they drafted in the 5th round last year, who outperformed his draft status. I like, if you open up the cap space, I think they need to be all in on one of the top corners. J.C. Jackson, Carlton Davis, Gilmore, or Dante Jackson. Go add another guy. Patrick Graham wants to play his cover 2-man under. Those are all guys who can play that tight man-to-man coverage and just stick to their guy with some safety, help them play them all underneath. I think that would increase the aggressiveness of their defense, and it would help give them more time to rush the passer.
Yeah, I think the main point of this division we're gonna find is teams are gonna be looking for corners and pass rushers because
those are
all the offenses are supercharged. Some teams will want to get their receivers and running backs up to par to make sure theirs are all done, like the Raiders, like the team we'll talk about next. But people will be chasing the firepower of Kansas City, and the Broncos just off paper look like they're going to have lots of firepower too. Justin Herbert and Derek Carr with Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow. There's firepower everywhere in this division. So teams are going to want corners and pass rushers. Eric, you got anything else to say about
No, I think y'all covered Las Vegas pretty well.
I think that segues perfectly to what I'm doing with the Chargers. We know they have Justin Herbert on this rookie contract. They went and got Khalil Mack. We could talk about the trade. Great value for them. All in Khalil Mack with Joey Bosa. You've seen that effect with Von Miller and Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
DeMarcus Ware and Von Miller. Michael Strahan with Justin Tucanosi and Manura. You always want to get a veteran pass rusher with a young guy to make things even more hectic for those quarterbacks on the other side. Lots of free agents that are big. Donald Parham, Kaiser White, Michael Schofield, Mike Williams, who they re-signed. I think he's going to take over as their one sooner or later. Uchenna Nwosu. I think I said that right. Correctly.
He's like a
pass rusher
linebacker. Yeah.
Chris Harris Jr., Jared Cook, Jalen Guyton, who I think they might re-sign. You don't have to, but I think his chemistry with Justin Herbert is there to be a good 4. He's a solid number 4 receiver, unless somebody wants to make him their number 2. Linval Joseph, Kristen Covington, Justin Jones, a lot of guys in the interior defensive line that they tried that just didn't work. And they got both of their special team guys up. So you definitely want to look at that. And along with Kyler Fackrell, who's a nice rotational edge piece. Can open up the $50 million with some restructurings or resignings. I say we look out for that Derwin James extension. They got Joey Bosa. You definitely can restructure him. That's a nice deal. Along with Corey Linsley and Brian Bulaga, who's not restructurable, but you could watch out. Keenan Allen, of course. But Brian Bulaga, we don't know. I don't know how much longer he's got. I actually think Matt Filer, who they've got at guard, has a better restructure option than what's it called? Brian Bulaga, who they probably need to look into replacing. Definitely Moody said it. They're going to be chasing one of these corners. They're going to have the money to pay him over the top for the 18 and 20 million. I think Carlton Davis and J.C. Jackson are good scheme fits. I don't really know if Dante Jackson fits as well, but definitely we'll be going after one of these corners. I wouldn't be shocked if all these top 3-4 available corners all go to AFC contender teams. But I also think Moody brought up a name, Sebastian Joseph Day. we know the
Chargers
defensive run defense is trash. So I picked up 3 names. You're going to definitely want a young guy like Joseph Day or BJ Hill for about $11 million per on a 3-year deal. But I also think you need to go get a guy who's sneaky, bring him back to LA. Then Ndamukong Suh, he's still kicking. If you bring him with a young guy, that's 2 guys. And Suh was amazing in the playoffs last year. He was giving the Rams problems, and they have a good interior. So got to help it there. But that's about it. These teams are going to be supering up their defense on special during free agency because they got to go get some of the best offenses and quarterbacks.
Yeah, I mean, love what the Chargers are doing. All got the rookie QB on a contract, all in. It's time to go. And I just love to see a franchise really trying to take advantage of the window that they have. There's 2 ways to win now. You can either go all in with the disgruntled veteran, or you try to go all in with the rookie contract. And that's what the Chargers are doing. Khalil Mack, I think, is a gigantic move.
That's huge. We were talking about it, and it just happened the next day.
It could shift the power in the AFC West significantly if it works out. If it works out the way they need to.
I forgot Brandon Staley was his defensive coach in Chicago.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. But I think definitely the most important thing for LAC in this offseason is to address the secondary and the D tackle spot. If you could get both of those things shored up to where teams can't just run it right at your throat and then beat you over the top.
Like the Texans.
And then beat you over the top with some big plays.
With Brandon Cooks.
That's what happens. Like, you can't play too high and still be giving up explosive plays. So you got to figure out a way to get more talent in that secondary. You like what you call Asante Samuel Jr., but they need more guys.
And Derwin James. So
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these needs for these teams are the same because it's an arms race in this division. With 4 really above average quarterbacks, I mean, all of these guys need safety help. They need these secondary help. And I mean, if you want me to keep going, just go on to Denver. I mean, that's exactly what they need. Trading for Russell Wilson adds to the arms race. A total of 8 players in that trade, if you count draft picks. Nuts. I almost think it was too little because this means Seattle has to knock those draft picks out of the park, and they don't have a history of doing well.
No, I would say Rashad Penny and Brooks.
Rashad Penny didn't look good until the last 4 games of his rookie contract.
But he looks good. Now Brooks he looks like a player.
I'll give you Brooks.
And
Brooks, the reason why Wagner and KJ Wright aren't there anymore.
And they've been drafting so late in the draft that it's tough. When they were drafting early in the draft, Earl Thomas, the tackle that they got.
Except for the first stretch of Pete Carroll's career, they were excellent at drafting. Then they went a long 10-year stretch of being bad at it.
So yeah, they obviously gave up the number 9 pick overall this year, so they don't have a first-round pick this year. But some notable free agents are Melvin Gordon, Kyler Fuller, Kareem Jackson, and Bryce Callahan. I think you need to bring back either Fuller or Callahan, if not both. I'm pretty sure their cap is pretty good. But so yeah, I think definitely so you have a veteran with Patrick Surtain is very important. Because he's going to still need to grow. Yeah, they have $26 million in the cap. So I would re-sign one of them because you need still help in the secondary. Some other targets that I have for them, possible Von return. They do need help on the edge, I believe. So Von Miller, come back, be another spark plug for another desperate veteran quarterback. Why not? Jadeveon Clowney, I think, would be a good fit here as well. As one of those short-term contracts, see what he has for a year or 2 and move on. Dante Jackson is a person I had for them to look at as well. And Anthony Barr, I think, is a good player for them to help shore up that linebacker spot that they also need help in.
Bobby Wagner.
Yeah, or Bobby. That's true. Just come with Russell. But my toughest choice is bringing back Melvin Gordon or not. I don't think you can, depending on what number he's at. But he's probably the toughest because then I don't know where they would go. Who's their backup? Who was their RB2 last year?
Javonte Williams. So they drafted in the second round. They should be moving up.
Yeah. Move off Melvin Gordon then.
He looked really good. Melvin Gordon actually looked really good.
Yeah, it's easy to look good in the timeshare when you got someone else.
For the right price, I think.
What's the right price?
$8 million. No more than $8 million per.
I'd rather draft the guy to pay $8 million. To take $8 million off my salary cap for Melvin Gordon.
It'll be a 3-year deal, $8 million per, but you know, probably like only 2.5 of the second year guaranteed. But yeah, okay. Yeah, I wouldn't bring it back though. Yeah. It's a running back. Why would you pay a running back?
But yeah, primarily edge, linebacker, and corner is what they.
Surprising that Denver's top needs are all on the defense. But that's how free agency works.
Good O-line, good quarterback now, good receivers.
Yeah, you gotta. I think the most important thing. I think they gotta get Callahan back. I think you gotta make that happen. That's one of the best nickel corners in the league, and you see the type of the lineup that you're about to be.
They're changing the scheme. They're changing the scheme
that you're about to go up against. So yeah, it'll be different without Vangio. I don't even know who's calling the defensive plays.
One of the Packer.
He brought a Packer guy over. Not an entirely massive change in scheme, by the way, but
because they're running the same Vangio scheme.
Like, I still definitely you got to get Callahan back. I love the Von Miller addition as well. But I think the most important thing for Denver is just making sure that you can compete with the rest of the division. And that's offensively, they lost Noah Fant. So that'll be interesting. They paid Tim Patrick. They got Javonte Williams. Do they need another piece on the offense?
They need Jerry Jeudy to be the first round pick that they drafted him to be. If he becomes the first round bona fide number one receiver on the team that they drafted him to be, because he's the highest drafted receiver of all three. Tim Patrick's a day two. Son's a day two, but he's paid, so he has to be big too. But that's three. That should be a three-headed monster. I think Russell Wilson will figure that out. Yeah. I think that'll be easy. I think that's the easiest part.
That could be a wrap for the AFC West.
Can't wait. I'm just watching this division alone is getting me ready.
We're about to associate Troy. I think we're about to associate Troy and Joe with the AFC West the way we associated them with the NFC East. Those Monday Night Football games have to be straight AFC West divisional matchups.
Okay. All right, then we'll catch y'all next time. Like, share, subscribe.